Okay, third graders, this is Miss Ballin, and we are back for writing. Last week, hopefully, you started researching an animal. I'm researching orangutans because it was with our science lesson, but you might have done a different animal or the same one. And you took some notes using a box and bullets. And this week, we're going to turn those notes into the body paragraphs in the middle of our essays. So yes, last week you used PebbleGo or other trusted websites to research an animal, and we're going to write a report with an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Week one, we took our notes. This is week two, where we're going to turn our notes into paragraphs. Okay, so I thought it might be good to see kind of where we're going. So I wrote a sample essay called Orangutans, which is about orangutans. And I wrote it in paragraphs like I always do when I'm writing, almost always. And you can see where my paragraphs are because I indented my writing a little bit for each one. So do you see how in each of those 5 places, I started a little bit in from the line? Those are the places where my paragraphs start. My first paragraph is my introduction, where I tell the reader what my topic is. Orangutans are incredible animals is my first sentence. And the last paragraph is my conclusion, where I wrap things up and I definitely make sure to repeat my topic. So at the end I said, as you can see, there's much to learn about the amazing orangutan. And then in the middle, there's my body of my essay. The body paragraphs are where I tell most of my information. That is the part that you're going to be writing this week. So we're going to save the introduction and the conclusion for later. Right now, I want to focus on the body paragraphs because that's where you're going to put in all of that research that you did last week. And look at this. I chose my 3 topics. So I have body, habitat, and food straight out of the notes that I took on orangutans. Let's see what that research looked like. Remember, we researched on PebbleGo and we had body, habitat, food, life cycle, and fun facts. And we took notes on those topics. And we're going to end up choosing three of those 5 topics to become our 3 body paragraphs. So I started taking my notes on the body of the orangutan, and this is what my notes looked like. That's my box and bullets. So the body was my subtopic, and they're 5 feet or 1.5 meters tall. They have orange and red hair. They have long arms for swinging. I took those notes straight out of PebbleGo. And I'm going to write a paragraph with them. And remember, we've done this a lot in school. Our paragraph is going to end up looking like a hamburger. Like it's going to have a nice introduction bun on the top and a conclusion bun on the bottom. And in the middle is all your yummy evidence. So my introduction sentence of my paragraph must say that I'm talking about the body of the orangutan, because when the reader is reading the paragraph, you want your introduction sentence to tell them what they're going to read about. So I said, the body of an orangutan has many useful features. That was how I introduced that my topic is going to be the body. I made sure to say it right off the bat. Then those 3 facts, those are each going to become a sentence in the main part of my paragraph. So that's my evidence. So I said, oh, and you want to use some transition words to make our ideas flow from one to the next. Transition words are those words like first, for example, to start, to begin, that introduce our first idea. And when we get to our second idea, we might say also, or in addition, or next, or second, or plus, or third. And then when we move on to our last detail, or we can even do it as like another detail, we might say finally, or last but not least. And then when we're wrapping things up at the end, we can say things like in conclusion, or to summarize, or as you can see. And that's just how we let the reader know how our ideas are going to flow. So I started with my introduction sentence. The body of an orangutan has many useful features. And then I threw in all my evidence. So I said, first of all, they grow to be about 5 feet tall. Also, their long hair is orange and red. Furthermore, their lengthy arms are great for swinging between the trees. But where do orangutans live? So do you notice those transition words that I used to introduce each of my pieces of evidence? I'll give you a second to try to spot them. Okay, I'm going to show you where they are. So I have, first of all, to introduce my first piece of evidence. I have also to introduce my second piece of evidence. And then I have a really fancy one, furthermore, to introduce my third piece of evidence. I love that word. Feel free to use it. And then I wrap it up with a concluding sentence. Usually a concluding sentence will kind of restate the topic, but I decided to get kind of creative with mine. My next paragraph is going to be about habitat. So I decided to give a little teaser at the end of this paragraph. I wanted to say, but where do orangutans live? And then the next paragraph is going to come in and be like, the habitat is where they live, and tell all about that. So I thought that would be kind of fun. You can do it either way. So this week, here's your job. You're going to read over the notes you took last week on your animal. You're going to pick the 3 subtopics like body, habitat, food, or lifestyle, life cycle, or fun facts. And you're going to use new writing paper to turn each of those 3 pages of notes into a paragraph with sentences, whole sentences. So each paragraph is going to have an introduction sentence that tells what the subtopic is. For example, you might say, the dolphin has a unique habitat if you're writing about dolphins. And each paragraph should have 3 pieces of evidence with transition words like first, also, furthermore. And each paragraph should end with a conclusion sentence to wrap up the idea and/or lead into the next idea. Next week, we're going to write the first and the last paragraph. So basically, the introduction and the conclusion of our whole report. So happy writing, 3rd graders. And please, as always, let your teacher know if you have any questions or if you want to share what you're learning and writing about. We love talking to you, and we miss you very much. All right, have a good week.